The second generation Audi R8 is finally in India. Mercedes-Benz will launch the GLC in petrol and diesel. We have the review. And we review the Mini with its top down. It's a brand new episode of CNB. Thanks for joining us. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Patankar. We've got lots packed in, as you've seen. 3 brand new cars that are all set to scorch our roads. I'll come to that sexy sports car in just a little bit. We'll start off with the all-new GLC from Mercedes-Benz. Now, it's been a long time coming. Mercedes has been missing from that segment for some time. This is the car that gets to take on the Audi Q5, the BMW X3 and the Land Rover Discovery Sport. So the new GLC is here. Now, I've driven the car a few times overseas, but we've got details for you on the India spec. Ameya Naik drove it. "15 done in 2015 and 12 planned for 2016. That's how many cars Mercedes-Benz has lined up for India. It's already the 5th one this year and is probably the most important of them all. It's the GLC. And though we've done an exclusive review of the car overseas, we have finally got our hands on the India spec car.
There's a reason why the GLC is so called, and that is because it's based on the underpinnings of the C-Class sedan. Now, GLE, GLS, GLA, the nomenclature basically tells you where exactly the SUVs are from. But this one is very important for Mercedes-Benz India because it'll be in a segment where the company has never been before in India. And that means going up against the likes of the Audi Q5 and the BMW X3.
So it's based on the C-Class, and that's where it borrows some of its looks too. The front grille and headlamps bear resemblance to the C, but the shape of the hood and the LED lights give it a unique look. The front bumper gets more protection, and that is to provide a higher angle of approach when off-roading. Even the rear bumper has been designed to give the GLC a shorter overhang, and yes, it looks best in this cardinal red paint for sure. The car isn't bulky or big in its appearance and has hints of a station wagon-like profile. Even the roofline is more coupe-like, and that bodes well for the GLC Coupe that will come next year. The influence of the AMG GT is clearly seen in the tail lamps, and they look pretty sleek, don't they? The cabin is well equipped and well finished too. There is a strong resemblance to the C-Class here as well, and the finish is top-notch. The controls are well laid out, and you have the rotor to select and choose the various settings. The quality is undoubtedly pleasing to the eye, and the tactile feel makes this more evident. There's a 7-inch infotainment screen which also gives you a 360-degree view of your car, which comes in very handy during parking and off-road driving. Other infotainment features include a 20 CD stereo system, a Garmin-based navigation system, 2 USB ports and an SD card input. There's also a panoramic sunroof, which adds to the package. Meant to seat 5, the GLC boasts a wheelbase of 2,873 mm, and that translates into more space up front and in the rear. The door panels are equipped with bottle holders, which adds to the convenience.
There are 550 litres on offer in the new GLC, and that is quite a lot. That is even more than the Audi Q5 actually. But there's the space saver that gets in the way, and this creates a problem because how much of that space is actually usable. So you have to put your spare tire at home before using that 550 litres. But Mercedes-Benz has also made it certain that you get more space, and that is why you can fold these two seats down and there's 1600 litres available, which probably might fit a baby elephant.
But would you be able to drive with one on board? Certainly. The engines are pretty powerful. The GLC is going to be available with a diesel and a petrol, the 220D and the 300.
The GLC will be available in both petrol and diesel powertrains. The one we are driving is the diesel, the 2.1 litre diesel engine. So yes, it won't be on sale in Delhi when it's launched in June. But what this car is wonderfully engineered, because there's 170 brake horsepower at your disposal and there's 400 Newton meters torque from as low as 1400 RPM, and that makes a lot of difference when you're changing, even gear changing. When you're using the paddle shifters, you change your gears fairly quickly, and the torque is available quickly to you. The 9 G-tronic, yes, 9-speed G-tronic gearbox makes things easier, so you just go. I mean, there's no hesitation from the gearbox to kind of give you power. It's pretty sorted that way, and you enjoy it as you drive on. Beautifully done, and you keep pushing it, and it doesn't say no. That's beautiful.
You can choose from the various driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and a customizable individual mode where you can change the throttle and steering response. As we moved along the twisty roads of Madikeri, the GLC was composed. However, we wished the NVH levels, the noise, vibration and harshness were better, and the obvious comparison for this is the 2-litre diesel from Audi. The steering feel is good and the drive experience is more or less similar to the C-Class. There is a bit of roll though at higher speeds, and that's because of the soft suspension setup. What nags you though is the lack of grip on your left foot on the dead pedal. The absence of any rubber or plastic on it makes your left leg wander for a strong foothold. The GLC also gets the 4MATIC off-road package, and this adds 20mm to the overall height. We didn't really get to test it off-road though, but there are a bunch of settings to choose from, like off-road, incline and slippery surface. Hill descent control is standard across all models. The GLC also gets everything from parking assist, attention assist, adaptive brake lights, tire pressure monitoring and 7 airbags. Mercedes-Benz has managed to pack in a lot in the GLC, and considering it's venturing into a segment that it's not tapped so far in India, that is important for it. The car launches next week, and we expect the price to hit the 50 lakh rupee mark. As always, we'll take a quick commercial break. We are back with more. Stay tuned. So the GLC is quite an important model then for Mercedes-Benz. It expects a fair number of volumes to come from that particular product. Now, this of course is not a rival to the GLC. In case you thought it's the X3, it's not. It's the X1 from BMW. And why do I have it here? Because, well, it is now locally made. So when it was launched at the Auto Expo, BMW had talked about how Production would start a little bit later, and that's why deliveries were only going to start around April and then in May. Well, all of that has now happened. The car is now locally produced at its Chennai plant, but it is still just the 2-litre diesel. No word still on a petrol X1, though BMW promises that it could be doing that later on in the year. Now let's move on to Audi's flagship car. The second generation of the R8 sports car is now in India. It's taken some time to finally come to us. It is, of course, the right-hand drive, remember, we have to wait for. And we've got a little bit of a preview for you now. We had a first taste of it in Bangalore. Audi has always tried to bring most of its global portfolio to India, not holding back on the performance end of things. So it's no surprise that the new generation of its R8 flagship sports car is also now in India. First introduced at the 2015 Geneva Motor Show, the car's overall design and dimensions remain fairly close to the first gen car. It is currently only available with a 10-cylinder engine, and we've had a brief first drive on it at an airstrip in Bangalore. The car is powered by a naturally aspirated 5.2-litre V10 engine that delivers 610 horses and 560 Nm of torque. It's a new 7-speed S-tronic gearbox that delivers all that torque to its wheels. Audi says that this is the fastest ever production car it has built. The new R8 can go from 0 to 100 km per hour in 3.2 seconds. It shares its platform, by the way, with the Lamborghini Huracan, and it's priced at 2 crore 55 lakh rupees, ex-showroom Delhi. It will take on the likes of the Mercedes-AMG GT, Porsche 911 and the BMW i8. The R8 has a new fan, India's Test cricket captain.
It's just a complete car. It's just a complete supercar now with, as I said, the upgrade of the looks and the power upgrade as well. It's just magnificent. And the control, as always, I've always been a fan of the R8 because of the control, because of how you feel behind the wheel, and that's most important for me when you're speeding. If you can feel that you're in control of the car, that's the most, the thing that gives you most confidence.
But it isn't just all about speed at all costs for the CMB Brand Ambassador of the Year.
Off the track, see, obviously you have to drive within speed limits. I would not speed on these cars unless I'm on a track or on an airstrip like this, where the environment is controlled and you know that everything is being taken care of and no one else is at risk. You're responsible for what you're doing. So even back home, when I want to drive my cars, I want to speed up, I rather organize something on the track.
Look out for the complete review of the R8 soon on CNB. Now here's a car that we've been wanting to show you for some time. We've sort of held it back because there's just so much that's been going on in the program, but we don't want you to miss out on its review. This is the new generation of the MINI Cooper, but it's not the one you're thinking of. It's the one which goes topless.
Going topless in sunny Goa might not sound exactly right, but when you see the Mini in its convertible avatar, you are tempted to drive with the roof down no matter how hot it might be outside. In its third generation model, the Mini Convertible gets a fairly familiar design as the other new generation siblings like the circular headlamps with LED daytime running lights, adding the oomph. Also, the car's overall dimensions have increased to add more space on the inside.
You have more leg room and the boot space has increased on the third generation car compared to the outgoing model. Also, the big advantage is that you've got this electrically powered roof closing, automatic roof closing that takes about 18 seconds, and you can do it on the move when you're cruising at about 30 kilometers an hour. And if you're a true blue Mini fan, what you get is the Union Jack, the graphic on top of the soft top.
We had limited time to drive the convertible but did enjoy whatever little we got. Despite the extra weight on the chassis, the convertible does not lose most of its go-kart capabilities. We got a quick sense of the Mini's quick acceleration, rock-solid braking, almost perfect handling through slaloms. The 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo motor roars in delight every time you down the pedal in any driving mode you choose from green, mid and sport. The super quick 6-speed automatic with steering shift paddles adds to the drama, except when the potholes kill it with a stiff suspension makes you grit your teeth. Adding to the go-kart feel is the leather steering wheel and sports seats that come in the standard variant. Making this cabin extra cool is the optional excitement package with LED interior and ambient lighting, as well as the projection of the Mini logo on the ground on the driver's seat when the door is opened. All this fun and drama comes at a steep 34.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom, which makes the Mini Convertible an expensive affair to own, but a fun one nevertheless.
And just like that, it is the end of the program. Please keep your feedback coming. We like to hear from you. Remember, you can also post your own thoughts and comments on our Facebook page, or you can reach me on Twitter. So please keep all of that coming. As I said, wear your seatbelts, wear your helmets. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.